Hi, welcome to Suplex the Sticks, a gaming podcast hosted by David and Seth.
Hello.
And Forrest.
Howdy.
Hello, friends.
You set the microphone so far away from me.
Well,
So
speak
far
up.
away.
You can speak up. It's not hard.
I don't want to.
Project. You know how to project your voice.
Nah, I'm soft-spoken.
That's partially
But I carry
true.
a big stick.
Okay. Yes.
That's what that one
To
president
any
said.
interested parties listening.
I don't even know what president said that because I just don't care.
I think
about-
it was Teddy.
I don't know if it was him.
You just said you don't know who it was, so obviously you don't know if
Yeah,
it was
but
him.
I think that Teddy Roosevelt was too cool for that. He liked horses and was Robin Williams.
What?
Yeah. Night
he
at
was
the
Robin
museum.
Williams, didn't you know?
Big stick diplomacy was a political approach used by the 26th President of the United States, Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, there you go.
So you can suck it.
He can suck the big stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've been playing video games. Whether or not that's a good thing at this point, I'm not entirely sure. None of us here have nostalgia for this game, so that's great.
Which
probably.
game?
This game.
Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. I don't know if people like this game
They do.
more because they played it when they were children and had an infinite amount of time to do meandering things. That's where I'm at, I think.
Well, that's part of the fun of Mario RPGs is
No, not this.
doing meandering
this.
things with fun characters
But it-
to make you laugh.
I think the characters are fun.
Like
like-
Goombella.
20 minutes of my time the other day was spent going back and forth between these two characters on different ends of the map. Without even having to do combat, just so that they could speak together through me, the intermediary. And there's just a lot of back and forth dialogue like this, where you're just sort of playing messenger. It's not like there is battles in this game, but like a lot of it is just you relaying messages, which I guess you could call that an RPG because you are leveling up stats and there are battles, but I'm kind of tired. I'm at the end, but I just don't. And I've heard that the end of the game is one long game of telephone as you wrap up every section of the map you've gone to again.
One of the, I think what a lot of people like about it is the dialogue and the character interactions with each other.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like that part of it, I think that's a big part of the game.
I think there have been parts of it I've really enjoyed, but more often than not, I've been like, this is fine. That's kind of where it's landing with me, is that this is fine. And it's not that I've lost my sense of whimsy or anything, because I like games where there's character stuff. You know, I adore almost every character in Persona 5. You know,
I wouldn't say Persona 5 is whimsical, though.
well, right, but I'm using that as like I can enjoy a game where there's a lot of talking and you get to know people. But this game,
I think you might have lost your sense of whimsy. That's the problem.
no, because I like whimsy that I play through. If that makes sense, like interactive whimsy. That's
Yeah.
so like the times when it has me do something clever with the mechanics, like I'm about that and I really enjoy it. And there was actually a really neat, it actually took a second for me to figure out a platforming thing in it, because I had to switch between different partners and I was like, ooh, this is actually like pushing against me a little bit to try to do a vaguely complicated platforming bit here, and like one of them was a little sillier because you had to use like the wind thing to blow away these enemies, and I enjoyed that stuff. It's the tedious whimsy. It's hard to call whimsy tedious, but like just the knowing that I am just walking back and forth. No fast travel, nothing like that. It just doesn't work, in my opinion. It does when you're 12 and you have all summer to play this video game, and like, but now like. And maybe I have lost my whimsy in some ways, but I would push against that just because of how much joy I get from the interactive segments. Like the ones where it's commanding my attention with the exciting stuff, I don't think the writing is good enough to command my attention. That's part of it too. There's little cheap, funny jokes, like one of the guys calls you Luigi, and like one of the guys calls you Gonzaga. Everyone's getting your name wrong, and it's like, okay, I get it. Why are all these people getting my name wrong? Like, it's just kind of like, does this bit have to happen more than once? Like, but it keeps happening. There's stuff that works. It just doesn't all land for me. I do think that the middle section of the game killed it for me, though. I think that that's really where it brutalized me. There's a section, oddly enough, that's professional wrestling themed that I should have loved. And I did love for a little bit, where you have to rise the ranks to fight the final boss. You have to rise 20 ranks. So you have to go and do battle 20 times. And then it interjects the back and forth tedium story in between the matches. So it felt like that section took an eternity.
So wait a minute. You're just complaining about how there are no battles.
No, I'm not complaining about the battles. I like that there's battles. I'm saying the back and forth tedium, it forced me to do back and forth stuff in between 20 battles. And so that extended the gameplay way too long. And I think it killed my motivation to keep pushing forward. Still pushing forward. I'm going to beat this game. Because I have pushed myself to beat the remakes of beloved Mario RPGs. I think the characters in Mario RPG are better by a long shot. Like Gino is way cooler and Malo is way cooler. I don't know how anyone would compare the two. I guess the one character I do super like in this one is the character I've named Little David, which is you get like an angry baby Yoshi.
Oh yeah. What color is yours?
Green. I don't know how you change it, or if there is a way to get a different color.
But
or
yeah,
what.
there are like 6 colors, I think, of Yoshi.
Well, mine's green, and it's named Little David. So
Heck yeah.
he's angry and he's kind of fun. And then I like Admiral Bobbery. Admiral Bobbery. I don't think he's as good of a Bob-omb as the one in...
The normal one
The
and the Origami King,
Yeah.
who sacrifices himself.
Oh my god, maybe one of the best stories in a video game.
But just imagine if that had been a unique character.
I think it's fine being what he was. I think that's great. He outshone what you thought was possible of him because he was just another character that you knew.
So what color your Yoshi kid is will depend on how long it takes between when you recruit it and when it hatches in real time. So the green is what you get for doing it the fastest. So if you wanted a different color, you had to wait longer.
Oh my god, I feel like that portion of the game took so long anyway, but...
Well, it's between 0 and 6 minutes real time.
Okay. Well, What about the? So it took me 1 minute to hatch him to get green.
Well, no, it's between 0 and 6 minutes for it to be green.
Oh, what's the longest?
Between 19 and 20 minutes, you get a white Yoshi.
That would be weird. I don't think I've ever seen a white Yoshi.
Yeah.
Me either.
I don't know if I want to see a white Yoshi. Yeah, I'm good.
And then descending in time is black, pink, orange, blue, and red, and then green.
Yeah, I would want blue maybe, but green is great. Green is Yoshi's color.
It is Yoshi's color, except for Boshi.
Yeah. And then I played that. I've been playing a lot of my normal stuff and like Fortnite, the usual. They added Magneto powers into the game because they've somehow made Mad Max combine with they used Magneto as a character. This season pass has been their most disjointed of all, to be honest.
The white Yoshi looks like a little fancy boy.
Oh, okay.
He's got curled hair.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
He looks kind of...
Yeah.
He gives me Bowser Jr. vibes. He looks mischievous.
But they have power armor from Fallout in the Battle Pass. They have Magneto in there. Like, there's a lot of Mad Max vibes. They're just kind of disparate. It's just like a hodgepodge.
Well, that's what Fortnite is, you know.
Well, no, but they usually have a consistent theme. And this one.
Mad Max and Fallout go together.
Yes, but
and depending
Magneto
on the
doesn't
storyline,
right.
Magneto could be in there.
Or at least name-wise.
Yeah, it
it'd
is
be
an
like
M.
Mag Max or Madneto.
Mad Magneto.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the stretching here.
Yeah.
But
Call me Reed Richards.
yeah. We're entering into a mini battle pass to get Jack Sparrow on the 19th. And I don't know if I'll get that.
Well, there's Wanda Maximoff, who is Magneto's
She
daughter.
is in the game
Wanda
already.
Mad Maximoff, yeah.
She's already in the
she's
game.
mad in the sense that she's
angry.
crazy sometimes.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
She's Magneto's daughter.
What matters the most is they've added Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
And he's got all of his tentacles move.
As he should.
It's so good. I love Davy Jones. I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
He was a good character.
They don't have any character. Oddly enough, Will Turner is not a character you can buy, and
Well, who needs him?
none of the characters from the sequel movies after the original trilogy. Like the mermaid,
Any of those characters, I don't remember them. The
guy
guy,
Javier Bardem,
yeah, who was,
and
he was weird.
I can't remember who the bad guy in the fourth one was. It wasn't Javier Bardem. Javier Bardem was 5.
Right.
But God, who was the bad guy in the fourth one?
Who knows?
Yeah, it's
Probably not important.
I played that section in Lego Pirates of the Caribbean. I remember, but that game was good. I went through a whole list the other day of how many Lego video games there were, and
There's a lot.
I think there's more than
There's so
people
much.
realize.
Yeah.
They've been making them.
Did
forever.
you know that there was a Pixar focused one called Lego The Incredibles?
Yeah.
That actually had. It really should have just been called Lego Pixar, but for some reason they just called it Lego The Incredibles. Yeah, there's a ton of ones. I played Indiana Jones. There's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Separate games. Crazy. Lots of games.
Yeah, they've been making those Lego games for years.
And I don't know if they're even making another one.
They probably will.
We'll see. Lego, the Skywalker, the Skywalker saga sold a ton of copies, so I'm sure that they are making something else.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do Lego Dune.
That would be weird. That would be funny, but weird. Let's see. What's another one that's ripe for the Lego treatment right now? They never did Lego Hunger Games. I don't know if you could do that.
Yeah, it's a little late.
That movie is hot, though. That new one. People loved it.
It
liked
was
that
good.
movie. It was a good movie. I don't know if you could do Lego Hunger Games though.
I mean, you absolutely could.
Yeah,
And it would be funny.
I think there should be, and I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. I'm pretty sure they have the rights. I think that they should do Lego The Simpsons. I think that could be a cool big game. I don't think The Simpsons is a hot property, but I do think a lot of people look fondly upon that hit and run game, and that could sate that for
would be
people.
a very different, like...
I guess they were doing Lego Horizon. That's a weird jump.
Yeah.
That's true.
Jumping from Lego Star Wars to Lego Horizon is a weird maneuver.
I would like Lego Doctor Who, which
That
we got
would be a really
slight taste of with
in
Lego,
Lego
Dimensions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Lego Doctor Who would be really cool.
Yeah. You got so much to work with.
So much to work with. Man, that would be really awesome. I don't know how well that would do here. I hope it would do great, but Lego Doctor Who. That's what I'm going to put it on.
Yeah.
I want that.
Lego DBZ.
That would be cool. Lego DBZ would be really awesome and weird. You could do any animes, really. They didn't.
Yeah.
They haven't done.
They haven't really done any of those, though.
Yeah.
It's mostly been live action
Lego
stuff.
Bionicle. They could do.
Oh, God.
Bionicle by
I
Lego.
wish.
Good news.
I would
There
buy
there
that
are
in
a
a
lot
heartbeat.
of there are a lot of Lego
Lego
Bionicle
Bionicle
games.
Yeah.
But a great. They had like one of my favorite point and click video games ever that they released as a free Flash game on the Bionicle website. It was so good.
Man, talking about
The
old computer
Matanui
games.
online game. That's what
Yes.
it was called.
I had one of the, I think it was just called Bionicle for the Game Boy Advance. And that was one of the worst games I've ever played, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
It
bad.
is
Which
really
is a
bad.
real shame.
They're all canonical though, too.
Yeah.
Canonical, but Bionicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the Game Boy Advance game leads directly into the point and click game,
Of course
which
it does.
I think leads directly into the movie.
I think so.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of old like computer games, did you guys like do you have any of those besides like the Bionicle one that you hold fondly? The one I always think of is there was a disc I got in a Captain Crunch cereal box
Nice.
where it let you raise a crunchling from
Nice.
baby to adult, and you would like skateboard with it and stuff like that.
I had a few. I played a lot of computer games as a wee lad. There was, I think, something called Rescue Rangers or something like that. But the Disney website had like a bunch of Kim Possible.
Yeah, there was a lot
ones,
of Kim
which
Possible
were
ones on Disney
the
website.
best.
Yeah, I remember those. Remember when companies would make cool video games for
Yeah.
their...
Just
I don't know if they were
small,
cool
just
games, but they were...
They were definitely like
entertaining,
more.
at least for
They
us
put more
kids.
development thought into those games, and they really needed
have,
to.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For releasing like free games on the internet.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially the people that would put the games on like mini clip and stuff. Like, there was a...
Honestly, I've never played Overcooked or whatever that food serving game is, but I know I would like it because I liked one of the Kim Possible games, which was you just worked at the restaurant.
Yeah.
And
I remember that one.
yeah.
Man.
I think the PC game that I associate most with my childhood is probably StarCraft, because that's the one I played the most. But I specifically would go online and play the use map settings maps, which is where people just made tons of other game modes. I would never actually play the regular game because I was bad at it online. I think other than that, there's this one, I can never remember the name of it, but it was a game like in the vein of Myst, but you were, instead of exploring this island, you were exploring these ancient civilizations that had disappeared.
Ooh.
And I remember really liking it, never finishing it because it was too hard. I think it was called like Atlantis or something, because that's where he ended up going.
Did you guys ever play Treasure Planet Battle for Procyon?
No.
Man. I think
played
I
the
had
Atlantis
demoed
game. I
it.
played the Atlantis Battle for... What was the I played the Atlantis PC game.
I did not play the Atlantis one. But the Treasure Planet one is like an RTS with like the ship. It's crazy. It's a crazy freaking game, dude. I was horrible at it. I didn't understand a single thing. But it was Treasure Planet, so I played it religiously.
There's this one game I played called Grunts, which were you it was sort of a...
You played as the grunts from Halo?
No.
Darn.
They were like these creatures made out of slime. And you had to move them through these like top-down puzzles. I don't really know how to describe it because I don't remember it all that well. But I do remember playing it. I had this demo disc with a bunch of like little bits of games that I remember playing a lot of. There was this one game where you were a UFO that sucked up cows.
Okay.
And there was also some RTS on there that it was so weird. I do not remember what it was called.
So, quick backward side note. I just looked up who the developer was for that Treasure Planet game. It's Barking Dog Studios, which is now...
Naughty Dog Studios.
No.
Oh.
Rockstar Vancouver, but best known for Bully.
Nice.
That's interesting.
So 4 years prior to Bully releasing, they released a Treasure Planet game.
That's funny.
Ah, I love it. I love this industry sometimes. Just the weird connective things between...
That is weird, yeah.
between completely separate projects.
Yeah. Golly. That was something that you talking about sparked me. Was old PC games.
Good stuff.
And I think about that Captain Crunchling game a lot. Man, I gotta look up to see if anyone has footage of that game because it is unhinged. Very weird.
The good old days of random games that could be found for free.
I watched Chris and Andrea beat Hollow Knight.
Nice.
And then I sat down and watched that speed run with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew them away. Completely couldn't believe it.
That's great.
And
Did you make them do the Path of Pain?
No, they didn't get to
the
that.
Max Payne?
Yeah.
I got my ego boosted about Hollow Knight this past weekend a little bit. I was listening to Giant Bomb, and the Maxwells have beat the game. They beat it with in 45 hours, maybe 50, and they only had mid 70% complete, 73 I think. Dan Reichert on Giant Bomb was like, yeah, I beat the game and I'm only 75% complete. And I'm like, oh man, I beat that game in almost 32 hours with 85% completion.
Jeez.
And that's a lot in Hollow Knight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, oh yeah, I played that game fast. I didn't mean to. I was vibing, but I just did a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I looked some stuff up, but it was all critical path stuff. It wasn't extraneous.
Yeah.
I think that's why I had to look some of the critical path stuff up because I got lost in the sauce on the extra stuff. But I've also, before we start recording, I beat Romana, Saint of the Bud, and Elden Ring. So I did it.
Yep.
The last mainline boss is the final one, and I'm not excited for that. Everything I've seen, it's a nightmare, and we'll see how it goes. Hoping smoothly. I don't foresee it going smoothly, but we'll see.
He hits hard.
Yeah. I'm thinking
You're gonna have to keep that shield up.
I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do what everyone has done and change my build completely going into the fight. I know a couple people that have gone into it and refused to do it, and they did eventually beat him, but they said it was not easy.
Look, if someone can beat it using a DDR pad, you can eventually figure out how to beat it
with your own build.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna change for ease of completion.
Yeah.
Now I know that I've dominated some of this conversation, but I do want to talk about the new elephant in the room on the internet a little bit. Have you seen the hubbub, Seth, on the internet, where some people are calling Lies of P one of the hardest Souls-like games ever made, and that people need to be honest with themselves and recognize that fact?
I have not seen this hubbub. You've told me about it, but I have not
I've seen a couple people retweeting people that have been like, I think it's time for people to accept that Lies of P is one of the most challenging if not the most challenging Souls-like style game.
I wouldn't doubt it. It's hard though, like looking back at games to remember which parts were hard, because you sort of only look at them in, at least when I think about Souls game, I only really think about them like holistically. So think about like the whole thing, and if I think about like how difficult bosses was, where I can really only think of like the last boss that I fought. Like when I think about Sekiro, I'm sure I remember it being hard throughout, but like I don't have this memory of it being hard except for the final boss that I never beat.
You and like a bunch of other reputable Souls players that I listen to on podcasts. Just Patrick on Remap got to it and was like, you know what? I'm okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Dan, he got to it and was like, I've had a good game. Like,
listen, it's like that sometimes.
Yeah, Lies of P. Like I remember the true final boss was.
I nearly broke you.
Yeah, not fun to play. Elden Ring, I don't know. Obviously, I never beat the hardest quote unquote boss in that game. But I don't really. I don't know that I was ever. It's hard for me to even say that I don't know that I was ever as frustrated in it as I was in Lies of P, because I absolutely am sure that I was at some points. But I don't think I ever felt as like held up or roadblocked against certain stuff in that game like I did in Lies of P.
I think that Elden Ring's a harder comparison because you can so easily go off and do other things.
Yeah.
Whereas in Lies of P, you are at that spot. You cannot go past that spot. You cannot do other things.
The same was also true of Sekiro, which had not as expansive of an open world, but there was a lot of places you could go. I think that Sekiro is probably the most demanding in terms of the way its combat worked. But that was only because, like, there was none of the I can change my build to figure out what works for me. It was like this, you have this set up and you have to figure out how to make it work.
So the one thing that people cite for Lies of P is that the parry frames are much tighter than in Sekiro, even like by half. Like there's way less parry frames in a lot of attacks. Of course, Puppet King is one of the references.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me because I remember my ability to parry is what really got me through that fight. Like once I got through it, I was like parrying like a boss through that thing, which made me feel good. But yeah,
parrying is fun,
especially in that game. I think that Lies of P had a fantastic parry. Man, it just it cracked me up to see people talking about it this weekend because I was like, I'm playing Elden Ring. I'm like, man, I do like this, but you know what I really kind of want to play is I would like some more Lies of P.
Yeah.
Like I want some more Lies of P.
Yes, come on, Lies of P makers.
Or a DLC, like maybe add another reason for me to go back there. Fill out my P organ a little more. Forrest never played this game.
You got to play it for us.
I will.
But yeah,
just do it today.
I don't have internet. I can't download the game.
That's true.
All right, Seth, what have you played? You've been playing some card game.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I've talked about it in the past, so I don't need to talk about it again.
Oh, have you talked about this one?
Yeah, absolutely. SNK vs. Capcom Card Fighters Clash.
Oh man.
Oh yes,
I should have
The
known.
classic Neo Geo Pocket Color game that I've played countless times, started and restarted it. But a new game for me that I played is over the weekend. I played the game Tinykin. It's on PSN. It's a sort of take on Pikmin, in which it all takes place in this house. You're like this tiny person who is originally from some other planet, but has figured out that the people on his planet are descendants of, Earthlings, and so he builds this machine to teleport to Earth, and he gets teleported inside this house, and he's really tiny. And so you go through these different stages helping this society of sentient bugs, using these tinier bugs called Tinykin, and there's maybe 5 or 6 different types that each have their own little strengths that they can do. So yeah, it's like Pikmin. It's a bit different in that the world is inhabited by people you can talk to, and they give you tasks to do. And it's also a bit like it's got a bit of collect-a-thon vibes in it. There's different stuff in each stage for you to collect. I beat it in one weekend. It's not a long game. Has fun characters, and fun soundtrack. It was just a pleasant little adventure. That wasn't too difficult and was just a good time.
Nice. That's about it.
Yeah.
I see it notifies me
whenever
when you download things, and so I'm like,
Nah.
I'm wondering if you've played it, even half of them.
Yeah.
I'm always curious.
Yes.
So
most of them I download, but I don't play because I'll look. I'll look at the screenshots and watch the preview in the store and be like, this looks interesting. I might play this one day, and then I never really get the urge to play them.
Yeah. Tell that to Little Kitty Big City on my hard drive and Still Wakes the Deep, which I'm going to get to. It just happens that Elden Ring came out at the bad time for that. Forrest, what have you been playing? You've been playing Unpacking.
Yeah, but in real life.
Yeah, not the video game.
Yeah.
It is a good video game, though.
Yeah. I feel like I would probably not enjoy that game currently. But I, just playing what little I can of Hollow Knight at the moment, but also I did try out Little Kitty Big City last week, I think. And I didn't vibe with it. And maybe it's just because I wasn't when I booted it up, I wasn't necessarily in the mindset to actually try and play the game. I think I was just trying to kill time. But I played about 20 minutes of it, and I just wasn't too enthralled to go back for more. But I'll give it another shot once I get everything set up at the new place, and then probably decide from there if I'm going to boot it or not. Because I wanted to play that game. but I don't know. I think my mindset on it has changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. I'm super excited to get around to the Elden Ring DLC though. Once everything gets set up for me, I've been I need it. watching you play it has just got me like shaking
Itching.
for it. Yeah. I need it injected into my veins. I need it mixed in with all my drinks.
I haven't had the specific need for Elden Ring, but watching gameplay has made me want to find a new Souls game to play, or play Neo again.
You should play.
Tale as old as time.
You should play Bloodborne. Oh my God!
I would play it with you.
I don't know. I just remember the bad time that I had the first time I tried to play it. And
Yeah, but you're better now.
it's true. I
Yeah.
am better.
You're better now, and you know better. God, what a video game!
For real.
What a video game!
Going back to that earlier
Holy
conversation
crap.
of like how hard certain Souls games are, that game wasn't too difficult for me, except for like the DLC stuff. Like I had an easier time with like the end game of that than
first
the
big-
DLC and
there's-
like the mid game bosses.
There's like 2 big skill checks in Bloodborne, and
Yeah.
then if you can get those, then you're good.
Yeah.
And one is the first hunter you come across, and then the other one is Father Gascoigne, who
yeah.
is oh god, that was one of the most insane, because that was before I played any Souls
Yeah.
stuff. That was, I just was like, I'm not ready for this, and I mean I did it, but what a video game!
For real.
Oh my god, man.
God.
And like it really is your vibe. Like you don't like playing games that people recommend you. I get it, but like it is like Lovecraftian. The
Also, dude, the fight against Lady Maria in the Astral Clock Tower
oh
is
my god,
like the best fight in the game.
it's so cool.
Like
You're saying this
It's
to me,
cool,
and you,
like-
and it's clear both of you are agreeing, but like I have no
I know. I want you to play this game.
I have no
yeah.
concept of what you're
Because at this point
talking
you
about.
can't. You have to give up on them remaking it, or like I've given
It's-
up on it. It's never gonna happen.
Probably isn't, but it seems like such a no-brainer for them to do, which is the weird thing, which makes it hard to give up on it because
Yeah.
I mean, it just feels like it would sell millions of units
Yeah.
if they did it.
I mean, I think I saw.
Maybe that's what
part of
Bluepoint
it.
is doing.
I don't think so.
It's
I
not what
really
Bluepoint
don't.
is doing.
I think I remember seeing a quote from either Miyazaki or one of the other studio heads at FromSoft that basically said like, "Hey, we would love more Bloodborne or even just a re-release of it, but that is not in our control."
Yeah, it's all on Sony.
And Sony seems to be preoccupied with everything else.
Yeah, Last of Us Part 3, and
Or
shelling out for Lego Horizons.
yeah.
Which everyone
What if-
should
what
everyone
if-
should get happy
What
with
about Lego Bloodborne?
everyone.
I would play
that would
it.
be cool. Everyone should just settle in for a lot more of Horizon Zero whatever, because the
Yeah.
former studio head of Gorilla is now the head of Sony, and so you're gonna
that.
pick one, or he's a co-head of Sony. So I mean, that is his child. So strap in if you didn't like how much Last of Us we were getting. I have a feeling we're gonna get saturated with Aloy and the world of Horizon.
It's too bad that Infamous isn't still a thing, especially now that they're so
Dude.
focused on turning stuff into TV shows.
I saw a clip earlier today from the Suicide Squad game of the Mrs. Freeze gameplay, and she was gliding around like it was an Infamous game, and it is such a travesty that a
God.
cool-looking traversal mechanic with superpowers is
so
trapped in a game like
insane.
that when it could just be
Yeah.
Infamous.
that DLC got pushed back 2 days before it was supposed to come out.
Yep.
They had a
that's
big
hilarious.
trailer reveal, and then the next day we're like, "Oh, just kidding. We have to
Haha.
push back the release of the DLC." Suicide Squad is in shambles. But
Ice powers would be good for a new Infamous.
it was kind of in Infamous Last Light, wasn't it? Not Last Light, the Second Son.
None of.
Not that I remember.
He got light. He got.
No,
Smoke?
Well, I think.
Was it
he got
kind of
that
ice?
smoke.
No.
He got the smoke.
In Infamous 2, one of the augments you could get to your power was either ice or fire, depending.
Yes, that's what it was.
Depending
That's
on
what it
which
was. Yes.
morality you were.
Yes,
at.
I remember.
That makes
I
sense.
remember.
Yeah.
Man,
What a good.
just games that will never happen.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too bad.
So
Infamous was. It's not to say it was a flop or anything, because I mean it had 3 games and they were all well received, but it does feel like it was a bit before its time.
oh, for sure.
I think 1 and 2 were at a good time. I think 3 maybe missed or failed
actually-
to gain a footing in the new
Yes.
generation that it tried to find itself in.
Yeah. I think it definitely tried to appeal to a certain type of person. But I think I enjoyed playing it. I think all the powers in it were really fun. And
Yeah.
and I thought the way of acquiring it was cool.
And the light. I thought the light person was cool. I don't like to. The way that Sony has squandered so many cool properties, people can call me anti-Sony all they want. If they had an E3 type presentation and they laid out MCU style the next phase where they bring out Jack and Daxter and Infamous and
Sly Cooper.
Cooper and older style God of War.
Parappa the Rappa.
The amount of money I would spend if they made, and everyone's going to laugh,
PlayStation All-Stars.
if they made another no, not that game.
Battle
If-
Royale,
no,
but it's an
if they made
actual
another-
Battle Royale
Oh
this
my
time.
gosh.
If they made another Killzone, I love Killzone
Or Resistance?
Shadowfall. I never cared about Resistance.
That's fine. That's fair. Even.
The character design in that never got me. But Killzone, I loved Killzone. I played all of those games. I was back in that day, I was like, yeah, this is going to be the Halo killer. I was an idiot, but everyone was calling it that, and I loved.
The real fact was that the Halo killer was
Yes,
itself.
it was Halo.
This, call it ambulance, but not for me. Whatever.
I think
But-
I think it makes it, to me it makes less sense for them to bring back something like Killzone because of how populated the shooter market is. I think that
Yeah.
it would be hard for them to find a unique
And they
way
did-
to pull people
but-
away from Call of Duty or something.
Well, they did that with Killzone Shadowfall. Is that was a very story focused, hyper intensive first person shooter story. The multiplayer wasn't really the focus. It was, this is a very cool, really in depth story, and people just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And so,
And if they brought it back now, it would just be a battle royale.
yeah, it would just be a battle royale, or it would, be bad. And I understand that.
Or an extraction shooter, whatever that is.
Yeah. You know what? Killzone is probably one of the 10 canceled live service games that happened. Well, they have
Yeah.
In which case, that's okay.
yeah, and good. I don't want my memory of that tarnished like that.
Tarnished.
Yeah. But it's just it's the way game development works now.
Sucks.
Sucks for sure. And seemingly the only person that has figured it out / is possibly slightly immune to it is Nintendo, and that's because of how they do things,
Yes.
which is wild.
Which I think also, but It doesn't really.
Because
I was
even
gonna say.
Nintendo has
I was
its own
gonna say
unique
it's kind of
problems.
because they're in Japan and not, beholden to the Western ideas of development. But so is Sony. And they do things very.
And so is Square
differently there, too.
Enix.
Yeah.
And so
But
many
Square
others.
Enix also does things very differently, I think.
Yeah, they
Not-
also do some things really
Yeah,
stupidly.
not in a good way.
Yeah, differently doesn't mean good.
No, yeah.
But in Nintendo's case, it does.
it's a
But, like,
successful kind
Even
of
though
different.
Nintendo, the president, I think, was in an interview last week or the week before, and he said that the increasing game development times is unavoidable. But he's like, we've kind of planned for that. Like it, but
Yeah.
it seems like these bigger,
just let 'em
like,
cook.
like PlayStation and Microsoft, instead of planning for it, like, we have a year where PlayStation doesn't have a game coming out,
Yes.
which is so weird.
It's like PlayStation develops 5 games at once, and then
They all
they release
release within
all
a year
within
and a half.
and then they have to go back into development cycle. Nintendo has question mark amount of games developing at any given time, and half of them are just completed and ready to be released.
And
Whenever
then
they
it
don't
will
have
drop at
anything.
any moment.
Yeah.
And get announced in a weird smiling trailer, and then get announced today that it's coming out next month.
Yep.
You know, like
Like there are things about Nintendo's development and announcement style that I don't quite like.
Yeah,
It's
they
kind of
truly
a-
boggles the mind sometimes.
I feel like they have in a lot of the games they probably have intentionally like reduced scope in order to have development times to be lower. Though in the end, in their like flagship games, it never really seems to matter all that much. But yeah, this Nintendo definitely does things in a different way, and I think that's probably good.
yeah, because at least games are coming out.
Right,
Yeah,
and,
it's
and
the
also.
Remember, the Nintendo Switch has games, according
That's
to
true.
that one
That one ad campaign they did.
from the VGAs.
That was funny. And it was true.
It's so true.
We talked about it however many episodes ago about like if a video game crash is coming or if we're like in the active in it actively happening right now. And it makes me think of like the first big video game crash was only like the reason that the industry was able to come back was because of Nintendo and them releasing the NES. And I think that similarly, if there is an actual crash, I think that Nintendo is likely the only company that will be not unscathed, but they will be the only company that's sort of able to continue along their path
Yeah,
as they are now because of the top-down kind of philosophy of their company, which has always been to intentionally be different than other companies.
Yeah.
And, there in times it has not served them all that well, like when they created the Wii U.
still love the Wii U. I
Yeah.
don't want to hear any
Great
slander.
console.
Yeah, it's a fine console, but
not
it wasn't
well
good. It
supported.
wasn't fine for them.
Yeah.
Right. Do you still
So-
have yours?
No,
I thought you had it
I
still.
do not.
Dang.
No, I got a. When did I get rid of that? I don't remember.
I thought you had your Splatoon one still in the box.
No, at some point I removed it from myself. I think it was probably when the
That's the way to
Switch
word
OLED came out that I.
That's a
Traded it
bummer.
in.
That's a bummer because I really want to play Metroid Prime 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
might have to buy a Wii. Or I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe a Wii U. Yeah. If anyone has a Wii U out there, let me know.
Yeah.
Of course, the other problem is finding a disc.
I can figure ways around that.
Yeah. No need to pay such exorbitant prices for two games that are
that's
not
true, that's true.
easily and affordably available to the public.
I'll figure a way. There's got to be a way. The internet has answers.
Yeah.
That's true.
I I've seen things. Listen,
He knows people.
I've seen the miracles of what you can do with flashcards and stuff.
Yeah. Project M, baby.
But
I mean, you could probably just emulate them.
yeah, but I'd have to get them on my
Yeah.
computer, and I have an Apple, so it's harder.
That's true.
I said Apple like it's a non-Mac. Man,
You just
I have a
What kind-
tangerine.
yeah.
remember when
I've got a
Mac?
peach.
Did you ever like have that friend that had a Mac, and they had that weird pterodactyl game where it had the gun on the back?
Oh my god.
No idea what that is.
I'm really glad that Forrest is recognized.
Holy, I completely forgot about that. Because, like, most of the time when I would play on, like, Macs and stuff, especially in elementary school, I would just be playing Marble Blast Gold all the time.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about this pterodactyl game.
I don't know what it was
called.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you looking it up,
Man.
sir?
Yeah.
What was it called? Pterodactyl.
Third person pterodactyl game on old Mac desktop question mark?
yes.
Yes. Oh my god.
Thank you.
Nanosaur 2 Hatchling?
Yes.
There was a Nanosaur 1?
That sounds exactly right.
I didn't even know this game had a name.
I mean, it had
It
to.
had to have a name. Oh my gosh, the top, so it brought me to this YouTube video. The first comment, we had this and a game called Marble Blast Gold that we could play during our free periods in elementary school.
Listen, dude, I would get done with
man.
my the elementary school that I went to, we had a computer class and we all had Macs because we were a magnet school, so we had a higher budget. And every time I would get done with my classwork early, I would just play those two games. Most of the time it was Marble Blast Gold, but a few times I'm like, man, I really wish I was playing Halo right now. This is the closest thing I have to it at school.
You just ran around and collected eggs.
Yeah.
Man,
Well,
what
you
a
flew
game.
around
Well, yeah.
on a pterodactyl.
Is the
Were you a
first...
pterodactyl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to be.
Man. Or you're a pteranodon. I don't know if there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Man, what a game. I'm really glad that I remembered that
Thank you.
deep in my brain.
Wow.
My giant brain.
The player takes on the form of a Nanosaur, a genetically engineered, intelligent dinosaur from the future, sent
Hold
back in
on.
time just prior to the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event.
On December 19th, 2022, a free, updated, and enhanced version was released on Windows,
What?
Mac OS, and Linux.
What?
Oh, baby.
I am going to
Free?
have to... I don't know if it's free. I hope it is. It better be. Oh my
Brother,
god.
if it is, you are downloading that app to the podcast.
I can download Nanosaur 2 free to my phone right now.
Yeah, it's on
What?
iOS.
Oh my god. This is changing everything about my life.
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
Unanimously agreed.
It's got
Suplex
4 out of 5
certified.
stars.
Yeah, it does,
on-
because it rocks.
Man,
Oh my god.
man. What a...
time to be alive, dude.
I know. I'm glad that you remembered this. You guys were making me... You said the way Seth was looking at me made me feel slightly crazy, like when I was thinking of Aegis Wing the other day, and you guys acted like that game never existed.
I don't think it
I mean,
does.
it didn't.
I mean, we could play it right
but
now.
Nanosaur definitely did.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
The only games I remember playing in school
I
were
didn't play it in school, but
Halo at some points.
Yeah.
never
And
Halo.
Adventure Quest.
Never Adventure Quest.
And
Never
Neopets.
Adventure.
We played Quake 3.
Yes, Neopets.
We played Quake 3 arena demo at web design class.
Nice.
And that got heated.
Yeah, I bet.
It got heated. And I would usually end up being mad enough that they would notify the teacher that we were not doing
Aw.
work.
So mad about the design of my website.
So I would slam my mouse usually, and she would be like, David,
Taking the margins right.
it was making me mad.
Philip just obliterated my web
URL.
page.
And it was great that you could play against people in class.
Yeah.
Man, it was fun. All right, so one thing I did, I have a topic in my brain. I wanted to.
It's David's topics.
David's top picks.
I was listening to another
Ooh,
podcast,
you
and
got some top
they
picks?
glibly brought up what's your top 3 home consoles, and it made me sit and ponder. And I'll go first since I'm the one that brought up the topic.
This is a topic about top picks.
Yeah.
My top 3 home consoles are number 1, the GameCube. Number 2, the Nintendo Switch, and number 3, the PlayStation 2. Those are my favorite. I think that at the end of the day, those 3 define me as a person. Really,
that's fair.
And how much I enjoy.
That's interesting. See, the problem is it's home consoles.
Yeah.
As a primarily handheld portable gamer growing up. But if I had to choose, I would say Super Nintendo. Probably 360. And probably the Switch.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. For me, I was also very much a portable handheld player as a kid, but we did have a PS2, and that's my number one, man. Straight up, I think a lot of what I like about video games stems from that experience I had with the PS2.
Yeah.
I'm trying to chase a lot of that most of the time. Then the Xbox 360, that was the first console of, like, the first home console that was ever truly mine in the household, that, like, you know, other people, like, played it now and again, but, like, it was, like, we got it for me. My games were the ones that were being played all the time, you know, stuff like that.
Nice.
And then the third one's a little tougher because, like, I want to say something like the GameCube or the Switch or something, but I think in all actuality it is unfortunately my Xbox One.
It's a good console.
It is, and I played a lot on it, but also, like, I recognize that it's not the best foot forward. But
It's your favorite, though. That's what matters.
That's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but I think it is the more influential one out of, like, the last decade of consoles for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, top 3 could mean anything.
So true.
There's no specific directions that you were given.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 of mine were Nintendo.
Yeah, it's tough thinking about it. Like, I could argue to put GameCube on there, and I could argue for putting 64 on there, and I think also Xbox One. For me,
I could argue to put the Wii on there despite never owning one.
Interesting.
But I was always over at people's houses that had Wiis, and we were always playing either Brawl or Wii Sports. Or
and if it was Wednesday,
I would check the Wii Shop channel. Man.
And honestly, this is an argument for Wii U being on mine, if only because of the wonderful circumstances that surrounded me getting mine.
Yeah.
Came out, the Splatoon version came out on my birthday.
Hey, that's how I was with the original Xbox and Halo 1.
But yeah, I think I feel kind of confident in my picks. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it makes me sad thinking about, like, the era of video games when I was in high school, like the GameCube, original Xbox, and PS2. Even though I didn't have a PS2, it's just like wishing you could go back to when games seemed like big and magical and impressive versus being like understanding the realities of game development, and also getting to the sort of the graphical singularity where everything is just in super high definition and looks realistic and is kind of boring.
You know, the old adage of I want games to look worse, be made faster, and be made more
Ethically?
ethically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want that. Do it.
Yeah.
Games should look worse, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least more stylized with less fidelity. Like, that's fine.
Yeah. This isn't high fidelity.
No.
We're not in that movie.
I'm not in a high fidelity rush.
Except for that one time I was.
Hey.
Yep.
But then
There
they,
will never be a second time.
they were shuttered.
There will never be another.
Yeah.
They made the best game of the year and then got canceled.
Yeah, they got canceled
That was not the best game of that year
by the...
by a long shot. Or by even our own list. So it
What else came out that year? I don't remember. I don't even remember what year that was.
last
That
year.
was
That was last year?
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
Didn't beat Alan Wake 2, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I could flip a coin and be okay with either side.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You sure that was last year?
Yes. It came out in March of last year.
Well,
Wild.
yeah.
Because it shadow dropped.
Because that was before I moved the last time. Man, God, what a long year. and a
Time
half.
doesn't exist.
No, it's a farce. We made it up.
It's too bad that was a Xbox property instead of a Nintendo property because
It would have gotten a sequel if it was a Nintendo.
yeah,
property.
but also he would fit perfectly in Smash Bros.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Honestly, put him in anyway.
Yeah.
Man, Smash Bros. Sakurai's wrapping up his YouTube channel. That means he's going back to the
He
grindstone.
is. Oh crap!
He's-
I haven't
I don't
watched
think
it in
he's
like a
making another
year.
Smash.
I don't
He's
think so.
He might make another Kirby.
he's going back. He's got to cook.
What if he makes a new Kid Icarus?
Hey,
I don't think he'll ever do that.
I mean,
I think he put all he
I
wanted
think
to
he
into
pre- I think
Uprising.
he is-
is to be honest.
I think that he has said explicitly that he is not going to make another one. I feel
think
like
he
I've,
said that
I feel
the
like I've
last time,
seen a
too.
quote about it.
I think he said that last time too. But sometimes you got to go back to the old you, like that Bugs Bunny meme.
But there are other like random NES games that
For him
never got
to-
sequels that he could reimagine.
yeah,
He could do the Starfleet game.
he could make a
That
new
never
Star
came out.
Fox game.
No,
No, you wouldn't want
Star
that.
Fox is dead.
But what if it was like Air Ride?
No, I would want it to be like what was the one called with the fox lady?
Adventures.
I like
Dinosaur
that one.
Planet.
Yeah, I like that one. Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube. I love
David's
that
number
GameCube.
one console.
God, I love that console so much.
It's great.
console.
It had the best version of NFL Street 2.
It had Gotcha
It had
Force,
it had all the NBA streets.
It had Call of Duty 2 on it.
Custom Robo.
Oh my god.
The GameCube is a goated system. You could play
It had
your
the Wave Bird.
yeah. You could play.
The best controller.
You could play 4 players with your friends without having to buy adapters.
In some games, you could play 4 players if you had 4 systems and adapters.
Yeah.
You had the Game Boy player on it.
Oh man, I love the game.
I wanted that thing so bad and never
The Zelda
could.
disc with like all
the classic
the
releases,
Zeldas on
yeah.
it. Yeah.
The
It just
Mega Man X collection that also
Yeah.
had Mega Man Battle and Chase.
Yeah.
just
That
really
released on
good,
other consoles.
a goaded system.
That's true.
Just insane.
Actually,
If it had Final Fantasy
Billy
Crystal
Hatcher.
Chronicles,
Billy Hatcher, yeah. Funny.
I'm the only one that loved that game, I guess maybe, and that's
Wait,
okay.
what did you say?
Final Fantasy Crystal
Oh
Chronicles.
yeah.
Good game for sure.
Yeah.
The remake was
Pretty-
bad,
pretty good
or
game.
the upres was bad, but
The GameCube version of the classic Mega Man collection sucked.
Baten Kaitos.
I never played it again. Baten Kaitos.
I don't think it's come out on the Switch yet, has it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, did I? Oh God, I don't have time to
God.
play Bayonetta 3.
No,
I'm
you
gonna
said
go to-
I've got to play that.
I've got to go to a different bay. And that's
Yeah.
Beta Kaitos.
Made by the same people who do Xenoblade.
Yeah.
God bless.
Whenever they remake Xenoblade Chronicles X, I'll be there. You know that they're looking at all the RAM,
I
all the
really
RAM of the
don't
new
think-
Switch. They're like, oh yeah, look at all that real estate.
I hate to break it to you, I don't think you'll like that
That's
game.
gonna happen.
That there's big mechs. I have to
The
like
mechs
it.
are fun, and luckily you get them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah,
that
that's
game
true,
is
actually. That's the primary form of transportation.
it
And
might be
combat,
more
I think.
tedious than other Xenoblade games.
It looked. One of my
It
friends
does have the
played
most
it.
insane soundtrack, though.
Yeah.
Hey.
It goes so hard, man.
I do love robots and I love soundtracks. So
we gotta pull up some of those tracks. You gotta hear them.
Every time-
absolutely wild.
every time I've been like, you know what, the gameplay's getting a little tedious. Let me listen to the music of Thousand Year Door. And I'm like, I'm fine not listening to this. None of it's blowing me away. I wish it was. Because Mario music can be excellent. I played many a Mario game with the music turned on my Switch instead of muted.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to whatever I'm watching instead of this game. Yeah. But I'm sure it's breaking people's hearts. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, though. But all right. With that, we appreciate you listening as always. I don't know. I think we'll be back next week. Maybe in 2 weeks. I want to try to get some other games underneath our feet. It gets depressing talking about the news and stuff, so that's why I've been trying to do more loose, and we've been trying to do more loose topic stuff. And, casually mentioning news, but just ended up reading the news, and that wasn't fun. So I like talking about what we played and what we have played in the past and how that affected us, and that's just more interesting to me, in my opinion. And I hope it's more interesting to you. So we appreciate all of you, and we will talk at you next time. Bye.
Bye. See ya.